Hello and welcome to episode 31 of Throwing Your Parents Under the Bus. I'm Jane Ubel, and on today's podcast, we are going to explain the why, when, and how to use an emergency brake. With me today is veteran crash investigator and driver safety expert Mike Pugh, as well as our keeper of our enrichments and creator of our social media podcast. Natasha, we're going to hand it over to you and tell us, what do we have today?
Yes, thank you. One of our students' favorite enrichments is the one where we have the students get into the driver's seat of the car. They will be driving and check out all the gadgets that are found in the front seat and learn what they do, how to use them, and when to use them. We assign students to go through the laundry list we provide of the devices on the dashboard, how to set your mirrors, checking the exterior of your car, and setting yourself up on the driver's seat. This activity will help familiarize yourself with the nuances of the car so that when it's time to practice drive, you won't be focused on learning where the blinkers are. You will be focusing on learning how to drive. Jacob from Sauk Center told us that he was glad to learn how to use and when to use the emergency brake in the car. Mike, maybe you can help out a lot of drivers to explain the why, when, and how to use the emergency brake for our audience.
Yes, for sure. And actually a great topic that everybody ignores. Because listen,
That's true.
99.9% of the people get in a car, nobody thinks about an emergency brake, right? I think of every day we go into what, emergency brake, what's that? Well, guess what? So let's just talk what an emergency brake is. An emergency brake is a cable that goes to your back tires only. All right. So if you have the old car that has, or the car that has the pedal, your bigger cars have a pedal that you push on the left side of the driver. So it'd be a left foot, you push it down, that locks up your back tires. You might have the handle in the middle. Same thing. There's a cable that goes to the back. It goes to the back tires. Okay. And now these newer cars, guess what they have?
A button.
It's a button. Yes, it's a lever, a little thing you pull up or push down, and then it sounds like pulsating like your anti-lock brakes. Regardless, everybody should know where that emergency brake is. So when you're driving your car, if you ever push on your real brake and it feels mushy, it feels like it's going farther to the floor, that usually is the sign that you have a broken brake line. And that car's only going to stop as long as fluid is in the brake lines. So if it goes to the floor, you don't have any brakes. All right. You need to put that emergency brake on. So when you put it on, it's going to lock up. Is it wet? Is it slippery out? Because when your back tires lock up, you are going to go into a skid. If it is slippery out, you're on a curve or whatever. So I suggest that everybody goes into a parking lot. And we might have 3 different cars in the household, one with a pedal, one with a lever, and one with an electronic. So go into a parking lot, go 5 miles an hour and put them on. Just do it. Okay. The ones with electronic, you're going to think you broke the car. You didn't. It'll stop you. Okay. Because someday you might be coming up to a stop sign or coming up behind somebody at 60 or 70 miles an hour, and you put on that brake and you might have hit something 5 miles before that and cracked a brake line, and all of a sudden you have no brakes. And that's why they call it the emergency brake. So find out where the release is. And with the handle one and the pedal one, you can actually have your finger on the button on the lever and pull it and slow your car down and let it go. And then on the pedal one, if you hold up your brake release lever and then use your left foot to push that brake down and up, it won't lock up on you. Electronic one does lock just like that. So get to know the cars because it's there for a reason. Do we use it every day? No. Also, emergency brakes that are not electronic do corrode and rust up because people don't use them. So don't go into that emergency brake right now and cram it on. All right, because it could freeze up on you, because if that car is 5 years old it probably hasn't been used in 5 years. So slowly start breaking that loose by one click at a time, one click, and then start using it in case you do need it. And by the way, when you go to take a driver's test for you younger people, one of the requirements is that you have to put your emergency brake on and take it off on your road test. So you need to get familiar with that.
That's great advice, Mike. Is it also, do you use them like, I think I remember using them because I parked on a driveway that was uphill. So is that a time to do it as well?
Yes. So with the new, with the automatic cars, emergency brake is not required. The old manual transmissions, when you had first, second, third, fourth, fifth gear, or 1, 2, 3 gears. Then when you parked uphill, you had to set your emergency brake. Parked downhill, you had to set your emergency brake in case that car came out of gear. All right. Our new, I would probably say very few cars, unless you have one of the late model, muscle cars. You put your car in park today, it locks in park, unless you have
Aging myself once again, but that's all right.
unless you have a manual transmission. So, for sure, manual transmission, then you'll want to set that emergency brake every time you park.
Okay, very good, very good.
Mhm.
All right, well, another great lesson or learned, but you, Mike, thank you so much. And we
Hey,
appreciate
great.
all, what?
Great observation by our students.
Yes, absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. You are
And
right.
guess what? People out there are going to learn from this, just this little tiny thing like this. So
I know. Well, and it's also even just a good reminder, I think, for people to, maybe you knew it a while ago, but it kind of was in the back of the Rolodex or something in your brain, and you go, oh, I guess I could have done that. So anyway, and Natasha, how long has it been since you've used a brake? Because
It's been quite a few years actually. I do remember though parking on a curb or up a hill and you would have to pull the emergency brake.
right, good, good. All right. I was only doing that because that one podcast that you said you never use cruise control or
Oh
to
yeah.
20. What was it?
Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I guess I'm now throwing Natasha under the bus, but
Yeah, now I'm getting thrown under the bus.
well, you can do that to me at some point too, because you have
I look
secrets.
forward to it.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We truly appreciate you and hope you can share our podcast with your friends and family. And please check out our other episodes by going to YouTube, drivesaferidesafe.com/podcast, or you can go to youtube.com/drivesaferidesafe1, not the number, not the name. And we want you to give us a shout out and email us on suggestions or questions, or maybe even stories that you have encountered on the road. And you can do that by going to drivesaferidesafe@gmail.com. This has been episode number 31 of Throwing Your Parents Under the Bus podcast. And we want to remind you to
drive safe.
Ride safe.
.com. See you next time.